Howdly
Hey,
doodly diddles.
what's going on, everybody? I literally just got done farting around with my phone right as that started. It's like, hey, yay. I peed in your pool, yay. I'm just kidding.
I want to go to Hawaii. Yay!
Uh,
Oh, Crank Yankers was so amazing. Why did they
underrated.
cancel it?
Underrated. Seriously
Oh,
underrated.
man. Yes, absolutely.
That's it, dude. Funny story. That's the reason why on one of my accounts on my TV, like I forget what the hell it is. It might be CBS, like the Paramount app or whatever. My
Yeah.
profile icon is the puppet from that show Spoonie Love that was voiced by Tracy Morgan. You did me wrong, girl.
Oh,
I take you back in a minute.
you
Love,
did me, girl. You did me wrong, girl. I'll
love,
take you back in a minute.
love, Spoonie.
Love, Spoonie.
Spoonie was the best, dude.
I'll, I'll take
Oh,
you back forever.
Tracy Morgan is so good, dude. Oh my
Oh
god.
man, yeah, he's still freaking. He's still fucking
Oh,
funny, man.
I'm glad to see that he recovered after that accident, that limo accident he was
Oh
in.
yeah, that was really bad, man.
Yeah,
He was injured for a good hot minute.
he got toe up from the flow up. So,
Yeah,
what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to our lovely little passion project that we call the Battle Bros Podcast. My name is Mac. This guy is Alamo, and welcome to the Thunderdome, you
you
magnificent people.
magnificent
You.
people.
Yeah. So, didn't before we get started, let me kind of give some context to what happened last week. So, kind of had a little bit of a family emergency. Had to end up taking my mother to the ER, and if she found out I was talking about this on this forum, she might have a flying shoe coming at my head in a rapid sense of speed. But whatever, she's not here. So, yeah, had to
La
take my mom.
chancla.
Had to. Well, I mean, I don't. We us white people call it a flip flop. So it's all good.
Eh,
I
still the
mean,
same concept.
custard, flan, different languages, same shit. It's all good.
Oh God, what?
Muddy, go on, motherfucker. Anyway, so that's about right. It's like even the pronunciation was right. Excellent. So anyway, yeah, my mom wasn't feeling good. She went up to something with my daughter, her granddaughter, and just kind of was complaining. And I was kind of giving her shit because she was like, "Oh, the coffee was terrible." And I go, "It was weak." She goes, "No, it was strong." I'm like, "Mom, you had Cuban coffee. That's like one of the best kinds they make. Duh. You've been drinking down
Yeah.
that. You've been drinking that white people coffee. It's all good." So I felt like a real asshole later because come to find out, she ended up getting sick and kind of upchucking and all that kind of stuff. So Thursday she called me at work and she was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to pick up your daughter. I was like, okay. So kind of scramble, had to make some things happen. Get my daughter home, no problem. Take her up to the ER, and then they were like, we're going to admit you. You kind of have some stuff going on. So come to find out, she had something wrong with her intestines, and she had a blockage. And then they ended up having to do surgery earlier this week, and she had a bowel resection done where they, cut out part of it and then sew the two ends together and stuff. And so she's a lot better now. Kind of found out that the blockage was actually kind of a mass that was not good. It kind of found out it was cancerous. So good thing is that they took it all out and all that kind of stuff. So it has been while I'm talking about this, why don't you go like muzzle the dog, everybody? It's all good. So just go do it. Click the camera off and just be like, I'll be right back. It's like, shut up. Anyway, yeah, exactly. There you go. Off he goes, folks. Anyway, so yeah, so it's been a long week. It's been crazy, just kind of getting things done, taking care of everything needs to be taken care of. So um, yeah, this is kind of nice. I can just kind of get back into the flow of things and just kind of have a little bit of a distraction from the crazy week that it's been. So I apologize, but hopefully you understand why we kind of had to take that last minute. Your stuff is super loud. I don't know why.
What
Like,
is?
It's super loud on that end over there. Okay,
Really?
it's dying off now, but anyway, so that's why we didn't exactly have last week's show. Like this happened, this all went down like Thursday night, and then Friday it was just insane. So this is why we had to take the week off. So sorry, but appreciate it. Not that this is going to reach a whole lot of people. We know like the 14 people that'll watch this in the next week. You're like, hey, you guys are awesome. So, but anyway, that's why. But we're back, and let's get back to business. I thought you just muzzled that dog. Didn't you put a sock in its mouth and duct tape it shut? I'm not.
I,
I'm not condoning that. Calm down, people that are
I'm
associated
gonna
with
have to.
famous
I'm gonna
people.
have to put him in his house.
Okay, so go do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll go solo for a minute.
Live show, folks. Live
Exactly.
show.
Do what you got to do. It's either that or having your kids run around with no pants on. So whatever. So if you caught our show previously, thank you for coming back and checking us out again. If you are checking us out for the first time, sorry for the bit of dramatics there, but we're trying to get you caught up on why we were not here last week. My footage is sorry. But yeah, if you haven't caught our show before, Alamo and I have known each other since high school. And he was a freshman. I was a senior. We were both in high school when 9/11 happened. Kind of altered the trajectory of our lives. Obviously, we both joined several years apart. Alamo was active duty. I spent 6 years in the Guard. I went to Afghanistan. He went to Iraq. We have been friends the whole time. And here we are talking about
Stuff.
veteran-related different stuff. We'll kind of get into the meat and potatoes of what this show is about at the very end, but that's kind of the origin story, since everybody's a damn Marvel or DC fan nowadays from all
Yeah.
the movies and the other media and whatnot. So
We gotta know what it is that you guys came from.
exactly. So yeah. So thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you like the show, and we'll just get into it since we wasted enough time. It's already 7.5 minutes in. So yeah, let's go. So
Let's rock and roll,
the
baby.
show that we did previous to this, we were talking. What was it about again? Do you remember?
Jesus. Hold on 1 second.
Wow.
I shall tell us.
So yeah, that's a little bit awkward. It wasn't Fortitude. That was episode 40.
We did
41. We had Jerry Strickland on.
Patriots.
And then that's right, because it was right after 9/11. Right,
Yes,
9/11 would have been
correct.
coming up. Okay, so talk about what a patriot was. So tonight, kind of in keeping with that theme, we're going to be talking about another topic, kind of related to folks in from our background, whether it's military, whether it is other aspects of life. We're going to be talking about legacy. Okay.
Yeah.
What is legacy? What is it? What does it mean? How is it passed on? So on and so forth. Okay. So the definition that I found, because a lot of the definitions that you can research kind of talk about moolah, money, things you leave to, money that you leave to, legacy fortune or legacy investment, whatever. So the one that I found that seemed the most apropos and applicable to what we're talking about says anything handed down from the past, as from an ancestor to a predecessor. Okay. So I immediately think of a couple of different things, kind of like the legacy of, family members. You have your parents, the legacy of their kids, or you have, my mom was watching Animal House in the hospital today, and I was like, oh, so Dorfman, Flounder, he's a legacy. His brother was here before. It's like, that's kind of like a legacy guy that, is joining the same fraternity as a previous family member. Different context, but kind of the same stuff. So,
yeah.
And the reason we brought this up is because we just recently experienced, the world experienced the death of United Kingdom's longest serving monarch, which was Queen Elizabeth II. She was on the throne for 70-something years, which is just astounding. I mean, that's longer than my dad was alive. Like he died on the last day of his 68th year. Like 70 years on the throne. It's like, whew. It's a long time, man. So, and I was kind of thinking about what her legacy was. She served in World War II in some capacity. I'm not exactly certain what it was or how that went to be, and I don't want to bring discredit to her memory or what that was and whatnot. But there's just a lot of different things. And that you could say that she has a legacy for, and that was just being a great leader of her country. I mean, just seeing her country through so many different things, going from you know she became she went she ascended the throne, I think, in the 50s. It was during Korea. It was like right before or right during Korea, because it was 70 years, so 22 backwards to 1952. So we were right in the middle of Korea when that was going on.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, holy shit, that's a long time. You got all this stuff that happened from
It's a hell of a
1952.
long time. Yeah.
Yeah, like how much the world has changed and all the different things in it and whatnot. So it's just like, yeah, yowza. Um, so yeah, I mean, she definitely has a great legacy as a world leader, as the leader of a nation, as the British Empire, the Commonwealth realms, as they call it. I don't know all of the vernacular and all that kind of stuff. Hey, just don't scream because we can hear you over the microphone, okay? Um, but yeah, this is a live show, so he's trying to wrangle two boys and put them to bed without kicking their butts. So. But yeah, I mean, just a person like that, she's an icon, because when she took the throne, she was only, I think, 25 or so years old. There weren't that many women leaders back in the 50s, if any. So you could call her someone that paved the way and was a groundbreaking type of person, leader in her own right. So there's that. And then 2 weeks ago, this Sunday, there was another death for folks. It's like when the microphone first comes on, it's like super, super, super loud. Then it eventually just kind of fades down or
Dissipates.
whatnot.
Yeah.
A little
It's
bit.
I believe it comes down to the noise cancellation feature that is on StreamYard,
Is
because
that
it has to recalibrate itself.
okay? It's not your new graphics card though, right?
No, that's not even plugged in.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So for Army folks, especially guys that are in the special operations community, there was another death of a pretty magnanimous leader, and that is a gentleman by the name of Lieutenant General David L. Grange. Now, for most folks, they're probably not going to know who who that person is, or why that name is significant.
Yeah.
But this is a gentleman who, at one point, commanded the 75th Ranger Regiment. Um, has some pretty decent exploits under his name when it comes to leading troops in combat and whatnot. But most notably, he is the namesake of the Best Ranger competition that they hold at Fort Benning every year. It is the David L. Grange Best Ranger competition. So, I mean, that's kind of a badass thing to have going on for you there. Talking about, like, you got the Ranger competition, like, you got all these guys coming out to see who's got the biggest nuts. It's like, David, I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, it's my kind of competition.
So yeah, I wanted to just kind of briefly talk about what legacy is and this, that, and the other. So, one of the in discussing this, Alamo and I have talked about a lot of different things when we just kind of sit. First off, we're lucky we put on a podcast, because we were literally sit and waste a lot of damn time on a Tuesday or Thursday night, because we're just literally like fucking around, dick dancing, just being stupid. It's like, dude, we got shit we got to do. No wonder we're up to 11 o'clock. We started meeting at 9. We're up to 11 because we're just sitting here being stupid. He goes, yeah, I know. It's awesome. So, but, it's one of the things that we talked about, and I've told the story several times before, is that, I met a gentleman, and I've known plenty of guys in my life that were Vietnam vets. And I feel like there is a bit of kindredship between Vietnam vets and guys that are part of the GWAT generation, because these guys came over and they were treated like absolute trash and garbage, and just like the scum and villainy of society. Yes, I did kind of borrow that from Star Wars, but just saying. I mean, you got these guys that went over and did something that
Never find another. Never mind.
Just shut up. Thank you. Jackass. You got these guys who went over and did an impossible job, a thankless job. They got home, they treat it like crap. Some guys, they're told, don't wear a uniform home. You get spit on, you'll get, thrown garbage and feces and stuff on you. It's terrible. A lot of these guys just couldn't admit that they were in a war that wasn't popular.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. So, I always, make sure if I meet somebody who's a Vietnam vet, I try to say, hey, man, welcome home. Thank you for your
Yeah.
service. Not to be cheesy, but just to be sincere, because a lot of those guys didn't get that kind of shit.
They got a really shit deal, man. Like these guys, nobody really, not a lot of people know this, but I mean, about 65 to about 75% of the army back then was still volunteer. I mean, that's going all the way up until the end of the war in like, what was it, 90 or 1970?
72.
1972.
72 is when Saigon fell, and then the last
So,
Pfizer's were out in
yeah,
75, I believe.
exactly.
I could be wrong.
Yeah. So, I mean, that like going all the way to 1972, it was still predominantly a volunteer army. A lot of people think like, oh, these guys were just drafted, they just blah 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 blah. Well, I mean, only a quarter of those numbers were draftees.
Yeah.
It's not like so with a vast majority of the military back then still being volunteer, still going over there because they think they're doing the right thing, and coming home to be literally spit on, to be shat on, to just all types of crazy stuff, bro. Like it had to be tough.
So it's
There's
kind of
there's no the hell way it wasn't. No the hell way it wasn't.
right. And see, and here's the interesting conundrum with that. It's like serving your country is one of the most noble acts a person can do, and that can be serving your community, your country, whatever the case may be. I mean, just meeting a lot of the nurses in the hospital taking care of my mom, it's like those are people that are on the front lines serving the community, especially in these day and age. It's like,
yeah,
I was just like, you guys, you ladies are just amazing. Thank you so much for what you do. It's hard nowadays, not trying to kiss ass, but just being sincere and just being thankful. I mean, she's very lucky she's in the hospital she's in, because it has just been an absolutely just completely non-stereotypical experience that you would have in certain places. So I'll just say that. I don't want to say which hospital because I'm not trying to get into all that kind of stuff, but it was just, it's a hospital in Tampa. I'll say that. But I mean, just really kind of changed my opinion.
it's a place.
It's a place over in the area, over in the town across the way. I don't know why I started talking like a Canadian. My bad. Yeah, my bad. Sorry.
Well, would you like to go there for that? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll save on to that one.
Jean-Guy.
We'll take that later. But yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, you have these people that just go out and do something so noble, to give up their time to educate and better themselves, to go out and help others, service to, and like, hell, there were nurses that were getting arrested. There were nurses that were getting fired because they didn't want to get vaccinated and all this crazy stuff. It's like, holy shit. Like, I just drew that comparison in my head, comparing it to, Vietnam vets coming home. It's just like, you signed up for this and people are treating you like you're a criminal, like you're the bad guy. It's like,
yeah.
But at the same time, we live in a nation where you're free to express that opinion. So it's like, you kind of have that catch-22 there, that conundrum where it's just like, yeah, let's find that middle ground. So, like I said, I kind of feel that special kinship to Vietnam vets, because that story I told where I met that guy working in retail. He's like, it's like, Vietnam vets are going to make sure you guys didn't come home to what we came home to. And it's like, okay, yeah, we're friends. We just became best friends. Hell, fuck yeah. So it's like, absolutely. So, but legacies can also go like a different way too. I mean, I'll give you two examples of that. So, for the folks in my generation and folks like myself that served in Afghanistan, the legacy of how our conflict ended after 20 years. Legacies can be very bad. They can be very negative. They can be, you kind of just look at it and just, it's like the kids say nowadays, shaking my damn head. It's just, you go over there, you're part of something proud. You do something that
SMDH.
Yeah, SMDH, shaking my damn head, or SMFH. It's like,
yeah,
Cranked it up a little notch here, pal. I'm doing it again. Shut up, dude. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, am I proud to have served during the time that I did? Hell yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The legacy of how it all ended, though, is a little bit of a smear, a stain, a tarnish on the overall, service of all these great Americans that went over there.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is I mean, Iraq ended pretty much in the same freaking manner. Go figure, under the same people that we won't mention being in office. But Iraq ended the same way, man. When I saw what was going on with ISIS, dude, I about lost it, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like I was crying. No, I literally I was in I was in the shitter at work, and I literally punched a hole. I punched a hole through the
Don't
freaking
listen.
bathroom door.
Don't ever admit to anything you might have done wrong. That's the Sham Shield code of table
Well,
of
I don't work
command.
for this company anymore, so I don't care.
Oh, okay, you're good.
So yeah, I literally
carry on, my
I
brethren.
literally was like, mother, boom, put the hole right through the door because of what I was seeing going on in Iraq.
Yeah,
I just because I think about it, like, I lost friends in that country. I lost, I mean, shit, we lost a friend from high school in that country. Or, well, no, actually, at least in my unit, which it was still because I felt like I could have been there, but we won't open that box of fucking. But it was just,
or even the way
almost
that
volunteered to go back.
Yeah,
because there were guys that were finding a way to volunteer and go back. I almost did that just so I could get back at ISIS.
Yeah, you remember there was some stuff circulating last year about this time where they had that picture, that very iconic picture from the fall of Saigon, where there's a CH-47 Chinook with its tailgate at the top of a building. You see these people trying to climb up, ascend the stairway outside to this little tiny section of rooftop where this guy parked the tailgate the ass part of a fucking
this
Chinook.
day, it's no less infuriating.
Right. But then there was another picture side by side to that.
Yeah.
Of a helicopter flying around in Kabul. And it was like,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. I'm explaining it for the people at home there, Gag. Shut your mouth.
Roger.
Anyway, but they're drawing a lot of comparisons. Like, here we go again. Like, this nation's Vietnam. I was like, don't you dare. Don't you fucking dare say this is this generation, this era is Vietnam, because it's not. We had all kinds of support. We had the people, because we got into Afghanistan because we were attacked here in 9/11. It was a little bit of quite a bit different thing going into Vietnam. And here's something else too, talking about legacy. We talked about it during the Patriot show, or before that, one of the few episodes that we've done in the last like 7 or 8.
Hold that thought. You could say that the legacy of Vietnam is that as a nation, we learned to appreciate the people that serve a little bit more, specifically because we didn't, as today's veterans, we didn't get the treatment that they got.
Okay.
In a sense. Yes.
In that regard, yes. But I would argue that point by saying it depends on which microcosm of society that we're talking about, if they really learn that lesson.
Oh no, I definitely agree with you there.
But what I was going to say, though, talking about legacy, is I forget what episode we talked about it, but how you had these folks go. You had that one guy who was a New York NYPD detective, and John Stewart. They went in front of Congress and they were talking about how the hell are you guys running out of money for the survivors and for the relief workers that were there at work in the pile at 9/11. It's like, these guys did something impossible. Why are we not? And like, if you haven't seen something, and like, I'm not saying watch this to like get your blood boiling, because in a small aspect it will.
Yeah.
And John Stewart, either like him or not, love him or hate him, whatever your case may be. I know, he did the Daily Show, and they, especially around whenever they had elections and stuff, it got really political and this, that, and the other. But he's a good comedian. Like I like him. He's one of those great guys. He's one of those comedians that kind of makes you think a little bit.
Yeah.
I saw a clip of him talking about Chappelle, and he was like, "Man, Chappelle was at Comedy Central the same time I was. It was this rocket ship. And it was just going crazy. And they offered him $50 million after the third season of his show, and he walked away. And Jon Stewart was like, wow. You mean to tell me that these motherfuckers running this network have $50 million? We can't even have snacks on set, you sons of bitches. It's like, he's great, But he gets up here in front of Congress, and like you could just see, like he's on the verge of losing it. He is just so beside himself. He's like, how in the hell are you telling these guys, after all they did to help get this nation back on its feet, this city, to breathe life into this city, after it had one of the most heinous things in history, in our country's history, ever happen, that, oh hey, sorry, you're sick, nothing we can do.
Yeah.
And like he's pretty much just chewing these Congress people apart, like ripping them a new asshole. And it's kind of like, kind of had it coming. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, to hear him talk about that, just the passion and the fury, like all those different emotions wrapped up in a box, and him talking about it, it's like, it's something you should watch. It's just one of those things you really need to watch. So, but yeah. Did you have anything you want to add before I moved on to the next part, dude?
No, not for this part. No.
So when we talk about legacy, it kind of, we can also discuss the aspect of, a unit's legacy. So
Yeah.
originally, Alamo and I had a different thumbnail that we were using for this episode that'll show up if you're watching on YouTube or some of the other app services or whatnot. He'll name them all at the end of the show. There's like 47 of them. So wait one. But we ended up, I found this picture, and it was from the 75th anniversary of D-Day, which was back in 2019. And it's just amazing photo. They had some guys with Ranger Regiment, and they went over to Normandy, France, and they had a couple of guys. So one of the big things in the lineage and the history of the Ranger Regiment is these guys going and climbing the cliffs at Pointe du Hoc. So they did that. They came and they put rope ladders down. They did that. And one of the great pictures that they took was they had a dude kind of like kneeling, and he's wearing all World War II garb, like, period, World War II uniform of an Army Ranger. And he's got his arm outreached, and he's he's got the hand of this guy who's coming up over the cliff, but he is dressed in all the modern day shit that a guy assigned to Ranger Regiment would wear. So he's wearing multi-cam, he's got all the high speed stuff, he's got the fast comp, he's got the, the high speed helmet, all the whiz bangs, all the cool, kind of gadgetry and all that kind of shit. But what they did to make it really cool is they took the image and they cut it in half, and the guy in the World War II regalia is in black and white, and they kind of distressed it to make it look like something from that time. And then you have the guy, modern day Ranger, in full color and better photo quality, and it's just like, it's an amazing photo. And I brought it up to Alamo here, and I was like, dude, we could use this instead, because originally we had a photo of this this family. There was like 8 people, different generations, like 3 or 4 generations of people in this family that all served, going from World War II to Korea to Vietnam, Desert Storm to today. And like, it was cool and everything, and nothing against you, man. Like, it was a good picture, but at the same time, I'm glad you changed it, because I was like looking at this, I'm like, yeah, that's badass. So like, the legacy of these different units, talking about another good example, like Band of Brothers, when you read about their exploits during the Battle of the Bulge when they're in Bastogne, that became kind of like the legendary stuff that these guys go to, or even all the stuff with 82nd Airborne, any of these prestigious units. I think it's like the legacy of Audie Murphy. His old unit, which is I think it's Bravo 1st to the 15th, Bravo 115, is called the Audie Murphy Boys because that's the unit that he was in when he was awarded his Medal of Honor. He was awarded
Yeah.
2 of them, right, or just 1?
Audie Murphy?
Yeah.
I believe it was just the one. I might be wrong, but I think it was just the one.
I'm going to look it up right now. I mean, he pretty much got awarded almost every damn combat decoration there was to be awarded. Like,
yeah, Audie Murphy was a badass. And he was a short guy too. He wasn't very tall.
no,
It makes short guys like me feel kind of good. Like, yeah, short people can fucking be something.
Jesus,
he was like 5'4".
5'5".
Just
He was 5'5".
5 foot. Oh well, never mind. 5'5" of just hardcore hard ass.
5'5". Yeah. So he made it. He ended up getting a battlefield commission. Oh yeah. Murphy received the Medal of Honor for valor that he demonstrated at the age of 19 for single-handedly holding off a company of German soldiers for an hour.
Soldiers.
I've got like freaking mush brain right now, dude. It's been a long week. At the Colmar pocket in France in January of 45. But yeah, so he, he's got the Distinguished Service Cross, Silver Star, Bronze Star. He's got the Legion of Merit. Let me go down to his stuff. It was I was right. Company B, 1st Battalion, 15th Infantry Regiment, the Audie Murphy Boys.
Nice.
So they have the legacy of having him there. So
it makes me think, and just thinking about the legacy, like you're talking about legacy of units, right? Like it makes me think of my unit, and like the reason, like I told you the backstory about the Fleur de Lis, right? Like the reason why we were awarded the Fleur de Lis, we were able to fly the Fleur de Lis on our patches, was because of our service.
Go ahead and tell that story again.
We were able to fly the Fleur de Lis on our patches because of the distinguished service we had during World War I in France in assisting the French. When the army, when the United States arrived into the conflict, like things were just like, you think about the things that the American military were able to do during World War I, when in all honesty, I mean, for God's sake, the last war they had fought was, line groups fighting line to line in a freaking field. The French during that time frame, that's the kind of fighting they were used to.
Right.
I mean, the French hadn't fought a real conflict, at all for like years, a la like what we went through during fucking the Civil War. So you want to talk about when the French first went up against the Germans back then, they got fucking massacred. I mean, they were dealing with machine guns, self-repeating pistols, bolt action rifles that, it was nuts. And the machine gun just
kind of like the same situation with the French military advisors in French Indochina.
Yep.
They got attacked by the VC and they got wiped.
They got destroyed.
They got
massacred. When the Americans showed up, I mean, we were fresh. We hadn't been experiencing any kind of real war at the time. The only reason
we were the new kids on the cell block.
We were the new kids on the block. And when the 2nd Cavalry Regiment arrived, I mean, they fucking kicked ass, man. They kicked absolute ass. They were dragoons back then, just like we were right now. I believe there was a time period after that where it went back to just being strictly cavalry. But it was basically mounted infantry at the time.
Maybe you can answer this question. Are they still stationed in Germany?
Yes, they are. We still, because the reason 2nd Cav is considered QRF. They're meant to be able to go, I mean, really deployable anywhere around the world from that location.
And the reason I ask that is because there's just a lot of like transitional type things going on where like the Marines are kind of focusing stuff over towards like Australia and like,
Winding down.
well, not winding down, but just kind of reallocating and repurposing different groups and different forces other places. Like,
And
for
a lot of
instance,
guys left too.
yeah, they just had and we've talked about this previously once or twice. We mentioned it in like the current events and stuff, but they just designated the U.S. Army Alaska as the 11th Arctic Airborne Division.
Yeah.
So they're changing that whole unit. Like, and I read something else today on Army Times. They're getting rid of all the strikers. The strikers are going somewhere else and they're actually turning the 173rd or something into an air assault unit, as opposed
Damn. And
as opposed to
that's in
it's in
Joint Base
Alaska.
in Alaska.
Yeah,
Damn.
I think
Yeah,
it's
that was a big striker unit too.
it's the
Was.
173rd Striker Brigade, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're redoing the whole unit into air assault or some shit. But
Air assault, air assault, air assault, air assault.
But yeah, I mean, and I like how when you go to like, especially on active duty, you have to they kind of want you, and they in some ways force you to learn the legacy and the lineage of these units and whatnot.
Yeah.
Talk like we really didn't do that too much in my unit, just because it's a little bit different. It's a National Guard, so you don't really have a lot of time for that. You go to assemble for drill once a month, and you're out there to train and do all that kind of stuff. I would have liked to have done more, though. I mean, if you get a chance to go up to the museum up there on Camp Landing up there to the east of Stark, just south of Jacksonville, they got some pretty cool stuff. They got a captured Nazi flag with the swastika and stuff on it and all this other shit. They have like the regimental yearbook from a certain time, like I forget when, but it's like an old ass yearbook and stuff. But learning that kind of stuff is cool, like you learn like about the people that came before you and this and that and the other, and it's just it's kind of badass, man. I like that kind of stuff. I'm a big history nerd, so I love that shit.
Yeah.
But so we're talking about legacy. One of the other things too is the legacy of parents. So like that's probably the most common day to day example we can give that I can think of right now. It's just the legacy of parents raising their kids. What are you passing on to them? I can remember a story. I remember very vividly, actually, talking about when my grandfather passed away. He was a product of the Depression. He graduated high school and never had any college, but he still went on to be the president of a bank in Zephyr Hills. He had owned and operated his own produce company. Did a lot of stuff for a guy that never had any like formalized college education, but he went and he did a whole bunch. It was a really big advocate for the Dale Carnegie leadership course, and he actually made me sit down and read it. But when I was out of high school, he's like, "You're an adult now. I want you to read this, and we're going to talk about it. See if you studied." And I'm just like, "Yes, sir." So. And we did, and I'm glad we did, because it was a good it was a good thing to talk about. But
Yeah.
When he passed, I was, let's see, what year did he pass? Jesus, I should know that. I think it was 2004, because you and my brother were still in school, I believe. I should know that, and that's terrible that I don't.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's 2004. I think it's March 2004. But anyway, like so many people came to the not a wake, but like a not a viewing, but like a memorial service there at the funeral home in town. And some guy walked up to me and he's like, "You're Jim's grandson?" And I didn't know who this guy was. He goes, I was like, "Yes, sir." He goes, "Well, Jim raised a good family, and I expect you're the absolute same. So good on you." And I was just like, I've never met this guy before. He don't know me from Tom, Dick, or Harry, but I'm just like, wow, like he did a lot of different stuff. He was involved with the American Legion. He was actually awarded Legionnaire of the Year one year at his Legionnaire post because he did a little service project that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But just that kind of legacy, I was just like, that's the kind of guy I want to be, man. Like I want to be a good dude that people are just like, you know, he wasn't the brightest tool in the shed. It's like, all right, well, that's true. But dude, you could do to help you out. You know, if you call him up at 3 o'clock in the morning, hey man, help me dig a body, help me bury a body. Where are we going? Where are we going? Did your chair just drop?
It did. What the hell?
Playing with a freaking handle. But
I don't think I meant to do that on. I didn't do that on purpose.
the last example that I found, well, this another example I found talking about like family and legacy. I'm a real big fan of Steve Harvey. You know, Steve Harvey show, like he's got so many good books out there. You know, about business and positive thinking and this, that, and the other. But you know, just he on the last show that he did on his daytime talk show, he had a bunch of his fraternity brothers come out, and he was a member of the Omega Sci-Fi fraternity. I'm not certain which. What are you staring at, dude?
It's the cat now. Really?
Oh, okay.
Why
That's
were
right.
you hiding in here?
You can't catch a break tonight, dude. Jesus. Anyway, so Steve Harvey was in the Omega Sci-Fi fraternity when he was in college, and you know, he goes on and he just has this great career. He starts off as a comedian, acting, but he goes and he's a good solid guy. I mean,
Yeah.
he ended up having the street where he grew up on in the city of Cleveland, Ohio, named after him. It's 112th Street in the hood, as he says, is now named Steve Harvey Way. But
Nice.
you have all these. He's got the Steve and Marjorie Harvey Foundation. But just like, you know, and when he had all his fraternity brothers on there, you know, they talk about what it is, you know, what this fraternity meant. Like the biggest thing of his fraternity is service, you know, service to others, service projects. You know, it's like if you're not about that lifestyle, you're not with us. So that was just something that always kind of impressed me. Is you got a guy that just is so giving of others. You know, they have these stories of affirmation during one of his birthday shows. These kids that came up and they said, you know, I had this going, but hey, now I've got this kind of degree, I've got this kind of GPA, I'm going to go to this college in the fall. And it's like it's amazing. It's cool to hear that stuff. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, going back to the whole children thing, it's like, you know, that's a living legacy. You have your kids, you have a chance to pass along what you know and what you've learned, and you know, that's something that should not ever be taken lightly. You know, it's so important. The time is so fleeting, especially nowadays. You know, everybody's got their head stuck in a phone or on a screen. Like you got to just really find the time to make those magical moments. You know, just wherever you can. You know, it's because you never know when you're not going to have that opportunity again. And I say that to bring up our last point is that this show is a, you know, live living memorial and legacy to our friend John.
Yeah.
You know, John was just a great person to be around. Funny dude, just loved to laugh, loved to have fun, just do dumb shit and get in trouble. And you know, it's a shame that he's not here anymore. You know, because he was a dude that you just every time you're around him, dude, your sides hurt. You just be laughing so much. Like, see the stitches? Holy shit, there's stitches. See my lungs in there? Like, just sew that shit back up. It's crazy. So, and to kind of, you know, go back around full circle, what we were talking about, that's how this show got started. You know, our friend John was, you know, unfortunately had some demons, and he chose to, you know, listen to those demons, and he solved a temporary problem with a permanent solution, and that's rather unfortunate. You know, John should. I would love for John to still be here, and we could sit around having a beer. Let's go get a beer. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the whole point of this whole episode is, you know, you have a story to tell, you have something to pass on. You know, if you you know, and you know, our whole objective is to prevent at the very least that one person from, you know, if all we prevent is one person right, from doing what John did, that's one extra person left to pass on a legacy to others. The whole point of a legacy is that you don't know who you're going to influence in the future. You don't know who's going to be touched by your story, who's going to say, damn, that guy was the guy I should have followed, or that woman was the one I should have followed.
Facts.
You
look at Pat Tillman. Pat
Tillman. Yeah.
Pat Tillman was a guy who was a football player, and 9/11 happened. He said, "No, I need to do my part." So he left, walked away from a awesome career with
$5 million dollar contract.
Walked away from that kind of money. Said, "I'm gonna go serve my country." He raised his right hand. He took the oath, and he ended up joining the Army and became an Army Ranger. Unfortunately, he was, tragically killed in a friendly fire accident and whatnot. Yeah. But now they have the Pat Tillman Foundation, where it takes, they award scholarships to all these people, like just different people that are doing their best to change the world. One of them was a guy named Johnny Kim, who is a guy who started off his career as a Navy SEAL, enlisted. Then he went to Harvard Medical School and became a doctor. Went back and still went back to the Navy. Became a physician in the Navy and stuff. Now he's a freaking astronaut, man. It's like, holy shit, man! Like, but it's all because of the legacy that Pat left behind. Just how he freaking had all this just boundless energy and enthusiasm and vigor, and had piss and vinegar running through his veins. I mean, the guy he was a force of nature from what everybody says about him. But yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just kind of wanted to throw that in there because it popped into my head. I was like, oh yeah.
No, you're good, man. You're good. But again, like I said, look, that's a great case in point. You know what I mean? Mr. B. God, yeah. Mr. B. Where the hell would, like, so many of us that got a chance to be in his class, where would so many of us be if we hadn't freaking had him as a freaking teacher, as someone that is a positive influence in our lives?
And if you don't know who we're talking about a history teacher that Alamo and I both had, and that pretty much anybody that went to our old high school had at one point, if they were very, very fortunate. Bruce Burnham he taught at that school pretty much since it opened.
Yeah.
I mean, so he was there for like 30-something years, and then he just passed away last year from, I believe, cancer, unfortunately. Hey, cancer. Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Anyway, fuck you, cancer. But yeah, I mean...
Hey, cancer. Fuck you.
Only you could take something semi-serious and just spin it like that. And oh my God, that's great. But anyway, so Burnham was just, man, that was an experience. That was part of your experience going to high school at Armwood High School in Stephenville, Florida. Like, you had Burnham's class, man. It was just awesome.
He has left such a legacy behind. Like, bro, like, we were there. His former students right now are trying to get the box for our football field renamed the Bruce Burnham freaking
I think that got approved.
It did get approved?
I'm not certain. I'll have to look that up, but that's
But yeah,
there was a big petition because I mean, the guy he was a teacher during the week. He'd go out and he would call the games.
Yes.
During the Friday night football
I still remember his voice during the freaking games, man.
And he would also, he was really heavily involved with the baseball team. He'd go out there and announce the baseball games too when they were out there playing and stuff. But just, I mean, like Alamo said, the legacy of this guy, he got you so involved in the lessons, like talking about stuff. And like, I thought it was great when I drew something. I took his history of Vietnam War class, and he was like, all right, I want you to make something or do something. I ended up drawing like the different flags for like Vietnam. So they had like French Indochina, so like the French flag, and then this, and the Vietnamese flag, and it had North and South, and then all that stuff. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's great. So he laminated it and hung it up in his classroom, and I saw it like a year or so later. I was like, yeah, all right, I made that. Yeah, it took me 5 minutes, but I made it. That's cool. That's my see, hey, that's me. But not for the notoriety of it. I don't care. But it's just like when you can do something like that and help to do all that stuff. Like the fact that I got to go and they do a ceremony at the end of the school year on April 30th or around April 30th, where when you're in the history of the Vietnam War class that he did, you would interview veterans and you got to type up their story, and then you actually presented them with a copy of it. So like everybody on the group in the classes got copies, the veterans got copies of it, and they actually sent a copy of this volume of the oral histories of the Vietnam War to the Library of Congress in Washington D.C. so it's there forever. Like that is a super cool legacy that I was proud to be a part of.
And
the fact that he asked me to do the master of ceremonies for the ceremony, the awards, the presentation ceremony that year I was just like, yeah, I'd be freaking happy as hell to do it, man. It was cool. It was so awesome to see all those guys out there. It was freaking fantastic.
And see, that's the point, man. That's why we find it so important to stop. I mean, if you're having thoughts of these, if you're having any kind of what you call it, dude, rethink it right now, because you never know who you're going to influence. I mean,
if you haven't been there, there's somebody around you has. Okay.
Hello. And you never know who you're going to influence. You never know. I mean, I can think of a handful of kids that, I mean, from elementary to freaking high school that, I don't know, I absolutely loved me. And I loved them like they were my little brother, little sister, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like one kid specifically. I love this kid to freaking pieces. His name is Adam. He was from my old church. And
the Catholic Church on 579?
No.
Okay.
The one in Apopka that I used to go to.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I was the main influence for it. I think it was kind of something that he always wanted to do. But I remember when he found out that I was in the Army, he was always asking me questions about it, like, "Hey, Manny, this, that, and the other. How was it? Like, was it like this? Blah blah blah." And I was able to give him advice. You know what I mean? And I don't sugarcoat anything. I that's not me. That's not who I am. I tell him how it is.
That's called setting somebody up for failure. You're managing expectations as well. Yeah, there's going to be times when joining the military fucking sucks. It sucks donkey balls. Like you're just like, what the fuck was I thinking?
And that's what I told him. I was like, look, there's going to be times that freaking suck, but
hard.
You live for those moments that freaking rule. In all, for lack of any better terminology, they freaking rule. And that's what you're there for, besides doing something that's bigger than yourself, man.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was kind of like, because it was probably like a good maybe 10-15 minute conversation that I had with him, and I think that was kind of like that final, like, yeah, I'm gonna freaking do this type thing for him. You know what I mean?
I had a similar experience to that recently. I was in the grocery store and the guy was like, "You in the Army?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I it's so dumb. Like I wear that. A buddy of mine gave me a hat. It just says like Afghanistan vet, has like the campaign ribbons and stuff on it, and it's just a hat. Like I don't wear it just so people can go, "Hey man, thank you." Like it's just a hat. I grab it to put it on, keep the sun out of my face, and then I end up getting people talk to me and stuff, and he was like, "All right, man, so tell me, what should I go into?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I'm trying to join the military." I'm like, "Oh, is it? What do you want to do?" He goes, "I'm trying to be law enforcement." I'm like, "All right." So they call it this, they call it this, they call it that. So, and like we were talking, like he's kind of set his mind on the Air Force. So I'm like, well, security forces. I mean, hey, it's not a bad thing to go into.
That's actually a good group. They got the Air Force has a pretty good security force.
I mean, and like I said, you don't sugarcoat it. You tell it to them straight. Everybody's got it called something different. There's There's a reason stereotypes exist, but you know, security forces, they carry on the legacy of the old. They used to call them, what they call them back in the air police. They used to call them the air police back in the day and stuff. So again, legacy and shit. But
Hell yeah, man.
but yeah, I mean, you never, like we say with this show all the time. It when we're talking about this show, it may not, the message we have may not be for you. It may be for somebody else. So you tell somebody, and then they tell somebody, and then hey, somebody gets a message that they need to hear, so we can keep them around and we can keep their legacy alive.
Yeah,
We've accomplished something. Will we ever know it? No, but
probably not.
that person's still here. So, but yeah, like we said, John was was a good dude. Unfortunately, he chose to solve a temporary problem with a permanent solution. So we started doing this show, and in the course of talking about this show, we were trying to, like, what's something we can use to keep people, get their head, make sure their equipment's wired tight and all that stuff. So we came up with the Bros Code, and what the Bros Code is, it's just a little kind of like, little stanza or something, little kind of things you can remember, just kind of keep yourself in the game and, keep yourself chugging on and all that kind of stuff. So, all you got to remember is bros, BROS. Be tenacious. Be like Queen Elizabeth. Be a woman who is in charge of a country and an empire when nobody else was, to set and pave the way for all these other people.
That's a tenacious old lady.
Be like General Grange. They named a freaking Ranger competition after you. Be like Steve Harvey. Be like all these other people. Be tenacious. Go out and do something different. Steve Harvey told a great story about how when he got his daytime talk show host, they gave him a speech coach. And he goes, "Nah, we ain't fitting to do that." She goes, "What?" He says, "We ain't finna do that. I got to where I am by being me, a poor kid from the hood in Cleveland. Why am I going to change that now? Because that's not going to work. People listen to me and they like me for who I am. Be tenacious." I watched a clip of Bernie Mac today when he did Def Comedy Jam.
That's some of my bitch.
I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. But there's a story behind this. I don't want to go into it now, but there's a great story behind how that happened. And if you've never heard that story, it's insane and it's amazing at the same time. But be tenacious. Whatever you do in life, if you're going to be a nurse, if you're going to be a parent, if you're going to be a service member, if you're going to be a teacher, if you're going to be a research scientist, if you're going to, be whoever, be the best that you can possibly be. That's quoting the old Army commercial. Be all that you can be. But go out and give it your absolute best. Don't half-ass it, okay? Like the meme says, don't half-ass two things. Whole ass one thing. Okay, I think that was Ron Swanson, so it's just like, yeah.
Yes, it was.
R, refuse to surrender. Again, I'm going to use Steve Harvey. He talks about all these stories about just trying to make it, struggling, just trying to get his name out there, being a comedian, being a comic, having all these stories and whatnot. It's never easy. It's never going to be rough, but he refused to surrender. And now this guy is living on easy street. He's got a great family. He's got grandkids. He's got he's got a gorgeous wife. He's got all this other crazy stuff. And he just said, no, you're not going to keep me down. And he went out there and made it happen. And he had all these things happen, start to line up. He became host of the Showtime at the Apollo for 8 years. And then it just led on to other bigger and better things. It's like, he's not setting you up for failure. He's prepping you for a comeback. Yeah.
Nice.
It always sucks. So yeah, refuse to surrender. There's going to be times in your life when things get sideways and get you a little bit off. Get a little bit off track on the land nav course. Thanks, LT. Whatever the case may be, pull yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep driving on, man. Just keep going to the objective.
Keep driving on.
Obliterate your obstacles. Like we say all the time, there's going to be times where you have things in your way. You might have a wall. You might have a moat. Swim the moat. Fuck them alligators or whatever the hell's swimming in it. Amoebas. Who cares? If you got a wall in your way, go around it, go over it, go under it, whatever. Breach it. Det cord. Bangalores. C Ford. Back into it with a striker. Anyway, whatever you got to do, obliterate your obstacles, man. Do not let things get in your way. If it's worth accomplishing, go out and accomplish that shit. All right. There's a guy for Black Rifle Coffee who is one of their free fall guys. He's on their like parachute team. Guy doesn't have any legs, but he's like, okay. And he's out there and he's good at it. He's amazing, and it's inspiring as hell to watch, man. It's fucking amazing. So, whatever that happens, obliterate your obstacles. Okay. S. Most importantly, S. Seek out help in a time of need. Okay. As you mentioned with our friend John, that's what happened is very tragic and it could be avoided. Everybody needs help. I mean, this guy has reached out to me when he's needed help. I've reached out to him when I've needed help. Okay, that's what you do. That's what you do for family. It's what you do for friends, people you care about. Okay. Whether it's people you served with, old service members that you were in the military with, people in your family, coworkers, friends from high school, whatever the case may be. If it's somebody that can help you, reach out to them, man.
Yeah, buddy.
That's all. All it takes is a phone call, a text message. Hey, dude, you busy? Can I talk? I'm not in a good place. Like, everybody goes through that, and if you're not, well, either one, you live a really awesome life, and that's impressive, or two, hey, you're in denial, and that's okay. But just realize everybody needs help at some point or another.
Yep.
If you don't have anybody that can help you with that, there's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. And there's two different ways to get a hold of them. You have the 800 number, which is 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255. Or they now have the 3-digit prefix, which is 988. That's 988. You can call or you can text. And they have somebody on the line 24/7 that will get in touch with you and kind of help you. There's no need to have the number of veterans and the number of people in general trying to hurt themselves, injure themselves, or end themselves when there are resources available. Okay. This shit has got to stop. 22 service members a day commit suicide. No more. Let's stop that shit.
Sad and scary number, bro.
It's sad, scary, and it should piss you off. It should. There was a story we talked about last week or previously where
the week before.
Was it the week before? Yeah,
it was the week before. Yeah,
the guy in Canada. He went to like their equivalent of the VA, and they said, "Well, you should probably just go home and shoot yourself." The fuck over? Seriously?
And he ended up taking his life afterwards too.
Did he really?
I think he did, didn't he?
I'm not sure. But I just
might be wrong. Might be wrong, folks.
I just know that if I was told that, man, I'd go through that phone and choke somebody the fuck out. Seriously.
Yeah.
But folks, like we said earlier, this message may not be about you. It may be about somebody else, but you are part of the process. You watch the show. Maybe you remember, hey, this guy's good looking and this guy's got a big ass head. That's okay. That's fine. If it makes you remember us, I'm good with that. Because then you'll talk about it to somebody, and then they tell somebody, and they tell somebody, and then they tell somebody, and it's something that they need to hear to get them out of that rut they're stuck in.
And the message gets passed on.
And the message gets passed, and next thing you know, somebody that was thinking about doing something that's irreversible changes their mind and go, you know what? I'm gonna tough this shit out.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. So just remember, be tenacious, refuse to surrender, obliterate your obstacles. Seek out help in a time of need. If you can do that, you're going to be good to go. Okay, and we want everybody to be good to go.
Damn right.
On that note, I'm going to hand it off to Alamo here. He's going to plug all the social media stuff, and then we're going to end up the show because it's already been about an hour. And I'm sure after that point, you guys are like, okay,
shut up. Yeah,
wrap it up. So.
So basically, if you guys want to contact us on the social medias, you can do that over at facebook.com/battlebros.podcast. You can also do that on the Instagram at battlebros_podcast, where you can message us both on Facebook Messenger. You could also message us on Instagram's Messenger, and you can also use the WhatsApp on our Facebook page just by clicking the little green button. And you can go ahead and leave us a voice message as well as text. and get us a message any way you can there. You can also, if you feel it, or if you feel so behooved, to contact us at the Battle Bros PC
Nice, dude. Nice.
at gmail.com. That is an email that both myself and Mac both have instant access to. We do check that fairly regularly, only because we haven't really been getting a lot of messages. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
So the two messages we're looking for, folks. Number one, we are the how should we say? We are the dating advocates for one Brian Ellis.
Brian Ellis, correct. Yes.
You have to go through us to get to him. So
correct.
Come with it. The other thing
That's
too is that we're also looking. Oh wait, I can't say that yet because you haven't plugged the other shit. My bad.
Keep going, my bad. Yeah, buddy. Also, if you'd like to catch us on any other platform other than here on the YouTube where we are live right now, you can do that over on rumble.com, where you just look up Battle Bros and it should take you directly to us. Also, we have a link right on the homepage of our YouTube channel where you can go ahead and click our Facebook, our Instagram, our Rumble, as well as I don't remember what else I linked. All them social medias. So
all the social medias.
Y'all ain't got no excuse. Also, if you'd like to go ahead and hear us on the audio platforms so that you can listen to us while you're on the road without watching us on video, be safe, y'all. You can
distracted driving is dangerous
driving. You can do that on Anchor. You can do that on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio now. Whoa, that's new. Castbox, yeah. Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Stitcher. Now we're on iHeartRadio. Hey, we're on iHeartRadio.
Yeah, we're getting out there, man.
I like the sound of that. Woo! I didn't even know that was a thing. They never emailed me. But also, if you'd like to support the show, you can do that on Anchor.fm.
Break. Oh, stand fast.
Yes, sir.
For the folks that have Alexa, make sure you say, Alexa, play me the Battle Bros podcast. And if you do that, get a video, send it into us, because that's one of it's so kind of goofy and minuscule and all this stuff, but it's like, Alexa, play the Battle Bros podcast. Like, I'm gonna be like, holy fuck,
made it.
We're kind of big time. It's kind of awesome. Like, fucking, we're awesome. I mean, it's not as cool as being Bill S. Preston Esquire and Ted Theodore Logan. But hey, I'll take it. So yeah,
we are the Wild Stallions.
God, I gotta see that third movie when it comes out. But anyway,
it's on Hulu now.
Oh, really? Nice. So if you send in a video of you saying, "Hey, Alexa, want to listen to the Battle Bros podcast," we're gonna give you a shout out and kind of kiss your tushy a little bit.
That's right.
As
shout out on the show, baby.
Recognition. So, all right, I'm gonna shut up. Finish up.
Yeah. If you want to support the show, you can do that over on Anchor FM or the Anchor app itself, which is our primary platform. Obviously, that's where we kind of upload everything from our YouTube videos, everything down to the audio, so that you have easy access to us wherever you feel need be. You can do that at the support button right there in the description box inside of the Battle Bros podcast page, or on our page on the Anchor app. I have nothing else there, brother. Like I said, though, this episode I feel like was very important for a couple of reasons. Number one, we want you to know that, hey, you have a legacy to pass on. Do not deprive others of that legacy that you... Dude, you could influence the next freaking billionaire that saves like millions alive by inventing something brand fucking new. You could be that person that influences somebody to make a change in their life that ends up impacting thousands of people in their community. You never know who you're going to influence.
I feel like we need to preface that a little bit because there's a lot of influencers out there. I feel like if you're
Correct,
calling
yeah.
yourself an influencer, you're probably not as influential as
As you think you
might
are.
be.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to say that to knock people. I mean, because like
Correct.
there's a lot of people out there trying to do an honest thing and all that kind of stuff. There's also a lot of
Posers.
posers, white noise, and just malarkey and nonsense out there. So
Malarkey.
But yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But again, like I said, you never know who you may impact. You never know who you might impact in a good way. So I mean, some of you might have a negative impact on inadvertently, you never know. But I like to believe that there's more to be garnered and more to be gained from having someone here than not having them here.
Yeah.
I want to. I think there's a bright side even to negative interactions, because hell, you learn how to not be some way. You know what I mean? And I think that's the main takeaway from this episode.
Yeah.
Maintain and leave your legacy. And I'm done.
One of the legacies that I had from being in the Army was, I learned a lot about leadership, not only for myself, but, leadership of others. And it's the last guy that I had as a squad leader when I left is now the battalion command sergeant major for my old unit. And like, good, solid dude. But like, the legacy is I learned a lot about what good leadership, and I learned a lot more about what bad leadership looks like. And that's just as, if not,
or as we on the Battle Bros like to say, leadership.
Leadership, absolutely. So, but yeah, legacy. That's what it's all about. What we leave to the people after us, kids,
nieces, nephews, it doesn't matter,
family members, coworkers, whatever the case may be. So, well, that's going to wrap us up. So, again, thank you for joining us. This was episode 043, titled Legacy of the Battle Bros podcast. If you came back and saw us, thank you. If you checked us out for the first time, hope you dug it. Again, pass it along, tell your friends. You never know who needs to hear this message. So
that's right.
Pass it along. Share the love, pay it forward, all that good stuff. So, the next episode we do is going to be 44, episode 044. It's going to be our last episode of our second season, and we're going to have a special guest. I'm not going to give away too much. We'll kind of tease that throughout the week, but it's going to be hopefully another fantastic episode. So please check us out for that.
Damn right.
Until then, this is Mac and Alamo with the Battle Bros podcast. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you soon.
Battle Bros out.
Catch you later. Stay safe, everybody.